Hello, leaders, and welcome to day 5 of this week's Leadership Challenge. Whether you are getting ready to transition into an executive leadership position or are helping somebody transition or simply have aspirations of becoming an executive someday, today's episode is for you. This whole week, we've focused on the challenges that come with leadership transitions, specifically the challenges leaders face while switching roles and gaining new responsibilities. And we offered some specific actions leaders can take to help their people going through these transitions. Welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. If you're new to this show, this is the daily leadership show that's designed specifically for mid-level leaders and team leaders. Every week, we discuss a different leadership challenge and offer you encouraging tips to help you and your team run to your challenges. Okay, let's jump right into today's challenge of transitioning from mid-level leader to executive leader. So, this is it. Man, you now have just about as much responsibility as you're going to get. You are in the highest echelon of leadership in your organization. You are now the one that is setting and expecting others to enforce the policies. And if you think you are free of challenges now that you're at the top, man, you better think again. Being at the top can be very stressful at times, especially if you think you need to do everything and make all the decisions yourself. Now more than ever, you need to involve all of your other leaders. You will have an extreme amount of responsibility, but if you focus on supporting your leaders as best you can, you'll find that things will be much easier. Now, taking on a supportive role can be a bit challenging in itself because you are used to being right in the middle of all the action. However, just as you had to let go of some of your responsibilities as you were promoted to some of the lower leadership roles, the same rule applies now. You need to pass your lower responsibilities off to your mid-level leaders and trust them to complete those responsibilities. Along with passing responsibilities, empower your mid-level leaders with authority and decision-making power to perform their jobs adequately. Now, it's time for you to start concentrating on thinking forward and trying to stay one step ahead of your competition. If you aren't, your company will slowly begin to fade away. After all, what works today may not work tomorrow. Now that you're on the top, you need to be focused on the future. Your view from the top may be crystal clear on some days, and yet very foggy on other days. That's perfectly normal as you choose which direction you take your teams within your organization. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit to if you are a seasoned executive leader and you're going to be helping a new executive leader transition into the position. You can help your newly appointed executive leaders by letting them know some of the challenging and difficult decisions that they're going to have to make. Remind them daily and or weekly to include all of their leaders, as this will ultimately help them gain balance between work and play. Remind them that they simply cannot do it all by themselves, not even close. And think about it, as easy it is for you to realize that and understand that, your new executive leader is probably going to have to be reminded of that very often. Finally, be real with your new executive leaders. Don't sugarcoat things. Tell them about the great, the bad, and the ugly stories and pour into them every chance you get. The more that you pour into them, the more quality of an executive leader that they're going to turn out to be. Hey, hopefully that gave you a few things to think about and a few actionable steps to take. You know, as I mentioned the last couple days, leadership transitions can be very difficult, and sometimes we feel alone and isolated. I'm here to encourage you and walk through these transitions with you. If you ever have questions, feel free to reach out to me and email me. I'll be starting a new leadership mastermind group in October-November timeframe. This group will be limited to 12 leaders, and it'll help you become the greatest version of yourself as a leader and as a person. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, shoot me an email at paulgrau, that's PAULGRAU, at currentleadershipcoaching.com. Masterminds have changed my life, and I know it'll change yours too. As a matter of fact, while you're listening to this, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, hanging out with about 100 guys that are in the mastermind group that I belong to called Iron Sharpens Iron. Man, I can't wait to share some of the stories with you. Hey, speaking of the future, next week we're going to dive into the leadership challenge of what the true measure of leadership is. Make sure you come back tomorrow to listen to the weekend edition of Run to Your Challenges. Have a great Friday, and until tomorrow, run to your challenges.